The Trump administration has released hundreds of thousands of pages of records related to the 1968 assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. The 230,000 pages of documents have been released despite objections from the civil rights leader's family. The records had been under a court-imposed seal since 1977, detailing the releases of files. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said the files include discussions of potential leads, internal FBI memos on the progress of the case, and more. She added that every effort is being made to ensure complete transparency about the pivotal and tragic moment in the nation's history. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed in April of 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee. James Earl Ray was convicted of the murder and later died in prison in 1998. However, King's children have long questioned whether Ray was guilty of the assassination. In a statement on Monday, King's family raised concern that the newly released records might be used to damage their father's legacy, adding that disturbing disinformation and surveillance campaign orchestrated by then FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. The release of the records is part of an order from President Trump to make government files public about the death of Martin Luther King Jr. President John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy, after assuming the presidency, Trump signed an order in January to declassify documents related to all three assassinations.
Included in the documents are hundreds of thousands of pages that have been digitized over the decades, but have been sealed since a 1977 court order ordered that they not be released to the public. The documents include many digital files, pages, and other documents and photos that have been digitized, as well as one MP3 file.
By the bombing in Syria and also the bombing of a Catholic church in Gaza, which, as you know, I addressed.
U.S. President Donald Trump was caught off guard by Israeli strikes in Syria last week, White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said, adding that Trump quickly called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to rectify the situation. Take a listen.
He was caught off guard by the bombing in Syria and also the bombing of a Catholic church in Gaza, which, as you know, I addressed at my briefing last week. And in both accounts, the president quickly called the prime minister to rectify those situations.
Israel and Syria on Friday entered a U.S.-brokered ceasefire after Israel launched strikes on the capital, Damascus, and the southern Druze majority city of Sueda, saying it aimed to put pressure on the Syrian government to withdraw its troops from the region amid ongoing clashes there. On Monday, the Syrian authorities evacuated Bedouin families from the Druze majority city of Sueda. After the truce in the southern province halted, a week of sectarian bloodshed, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitors said the ceasefire is largely holding despite isolated gunfire. In areas north of Sueda city, with no new reports of casualties. State news agency Sana quoted the governor of neighboring Daraa saying that his province had received about 200 Bedouin families who had not been detained in Sueda, sending them to local shelters. The ceasefire puts an end to the violence that killed more than 1,260 people, about 800 of them Druze fighters and civilians, including nearly 200 non-combatants, summarily executed by government forces. According to the observatory, the toll also included more than 400 government security personnel. Damascus has accused Druze groups of attacking and killing Sunni Bedouins during the clashes, which broke out on July 13, after a Druze vegetable seller was kidnapped by local Bedouin. The observatory's toll includes 35 Bedouins, 3 of them civilians executed by Druze fighters. The Druze and Bedouin tribes have had tense relations for decades.